चक्षुर्मिलितं गुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सुजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we'll be starting a new chapter, number 4, the semblance of devotion. The invocation is going like this. Yei saba sadhanera ati tuchha bala Krishna bhakti vina tatha dite nare phala. Without devotional service, all other methods of the spiritual self-realization are very weak and insignificant. Unless one comes to the devotional service of Lord Krishna, Jnana and Yoga cannot give the desired result. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 18th verse. So, semblance of devotion, the bhakti-abhas, semblance means abhas, bhakti-abhas. Let's see, this is the part 1. Chapter 2 examined seeds of the semblance of faith, and chapter 3, the creepers of the mixed devotion produced from those seeds. Now, this chapter is beginning with the study of the shadowy division, chaya, of the semblance of faith, and goes on to show how properly cultivated shadowy faith leads to the semblance of devotion and on to pure devotional service. That is possible. In Chaya Abhas, we saw the advantage is that the devotee in shadow of the faith that is not yet perfected, but they won't be in vain. There will be every possibility that they will be given promotion to understand the pure devotion service, and then they can be transported to pure devotion. So right now, the semblance of faith, that is chaya, is going to be discussed in details. The chapter only touches on reflected division, that is pratibimb abhas, which is flawed by Mayavad philosophy and which is of no use to devotees serious about perfection. The pratibimb abhas does not allow you to progress, because Mayavadis also show a kind of reflectory idea that they are also devotees. Prabhupada said that we may respect them. There is nothing wrong in it, but you do not follow them. You cannot follow them. You cannot allow the platform of to them as your teacher. You can't understand anything from them if they are Mayavadi philosophers. So their faith will not help you. If persons who are not even in our disciplic succession, some may be cultivating themselves, even though senior, but they may have pratibim semblance, reflection, not shadow, reflection. So devotees do not aspire. We have to be very perfectly guided how to progress. The main strength given by the shadow of pure faith are that it facilitates regular and submissive contact with pure Vaishnavas, and that it invokes the potency of devotional service and the Lord's mercy. So, if we are in Chaya, then association with the Vaishnavas will become very, very conducive to lead us to pure faith. So, regular and submissive contact with pure Vaishnavas, and that it invokes the potency of devotional service and the Lord's mercy. Three things are obtained in Chaya Abhas. So, bhakti, because the holy name is also been taken in that way, and performance of the bhakti will be also resulting in Chaya. But Chaya will be helping a devotee to get better association, and thereby he may progress to pure devotional service because he gets the benefit of that Vaishnavas. But to associate with the Mayavadis who are pratibimb, you will not get any benefit. So avoid it. So these three things, especially the company of pure Vaishnavas, gradually qualify aspirants for pure devotional service. The careful practice of which bestows the ultimate goal of life. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koy. Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Each person's path from the semblance of faith to the semblance of devotion and on to pure devotional service is unique. In fact, all living entities are influenced by their karmic past, consisting of unwanted attachments and a unique blend of the material modes. Nevertheless, revealed scriptures and Vaishnava authorities describe general category of the souls who turn to Krishna. The varieties of the stage of practice. Sorry, wait. The stages of practice which souls pass through in the transition from a semblance of devotion, that is bhakti abhas, to pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, is the subject of this chapter. How do you transcend? Avoid Mayavad, but still you have to approach Vaishnavas. And By their purity, you get the benefit, and you will improvise from a semblance shadow faith to shadow bhakti, but then onwards to pure devotional service. For impure motives for devotion. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada often said that fools remain undiscovered as long as they do not speak. Uh, a fool is only known when he opens his mouth. As long as he keeps silent, nobody will recognize him as a fool. Similarly, mixed devotees pass for true Vaishnavas only until they expose their ulterior motives. Anybody can associate with Vaishnava, but they will be exposed as long as their motives are exposed. Great souls learned in science of devotion easily distinguish crow-like neophytes from swan-like Vaishnavas. Krishna himself classifies the four pious but materially motivated persons who approach him with semblance of faith. Chaturvidha bhajante mam janaha sukritino arjun arto jagyarsur artharthi jnanicha bharsasva. Oh, best among the Bharatas. Four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for the knowledge of the Absolute. Tesham jnani nitya yukta ek bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnanino atyartham aham cha mama priya. Of this, one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. So this is spoken in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 16th and 17th verses. So following description of these four general classifications of shadowy faith is based on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's and Baldev Vidyabhushan's comments on these two verses from Bhagavad Gita. This is in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 20th and 21st verses. That Baldev Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the Guru is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and his disciple is Baldev Vidyabhushan. These are in our disciplic succession. And how their faith, an explanation to the progressive aspect of semblance in Chaya Apas to pure devotional service by the association of Vaishnavas is coming through. So they say the distressed artha are selfish workers whose prime goal in the life is to enjoy the fruits of their work, and their endeavors to fulfill these desires, they become frustrated by poverty or illness. For example, sobered by sorrow, they turn to Krishna for relief. Artha. The inquisitive jikyasu are pious but ignorant of the absolute truth. When their piety matures, the workings of the material world awakened in them and need to understand the reality of the things. Dissatisfied by teachings of secular scriptures and led by curiosity, they turn to Krishna for a clear understanding of God. And those who desire material gain, artharthi, want to enjoy this world's pleasure, wealth, fame, sex, and heaven. To achieve, enhance, and preserve a heavenly standard of living, they undertake ritualistic worship of Krishna as he who fulfills all desires. But seeker of the truth is called Jnani, renounce worldly pleasure to realize the impersonal Brahman, and they are not Mayavadis. But Brahmavadis, mentioned in the chapter 3, by strictly practicing celibacy and other forms of asceticism, they begin to acquire knowledge of the Supreme, and when inspired by wisdom, they turn to Krishna and serve him to acquire pure transcendental knowledge. It is important to note that the above four classes of Krishna, Krishna particularly extols the Jnanis because they serve in knowledge of him. Srimad Bhagavatam gives example of the four kinds of pious men. Gajendra represents the distress. The Naimisharanya sages are inquisitive. Dhruv Maharaj, who desired the wealth, and the four Kumaras, the seekers of the truth. This is also described in Nectar of Devotion by Rupa Goswami, chapter 3, page 30 to 31. By addressing these four kinds of worshippers as pious or sukruti, Krishna acknowledges that a piety results in activities that lead to him. In contrast, the verse 7 chapter 15th verse describes the activities that do not lead to Krishna as impious and perpetrators, such as such acts as miscreants. Miscreants means duskritina. Jiva Goswami defines piety as the ascent attained by engaging in activities that lead to pure devotion. He says activities that are connected to transcendental personalities and that give rise to an intense desire to perform devotional service, they are called sukruti. So the Acharyas understanding the Chaturvida bhajante mam janaha sukritino arjun artho arthati chikyasu jnani chatuparsa. So their faith is in semblance. And they come to Krishna, but yet they do not know what is pure devotional service. They are in chaya, but desirous of different situations and things that they aspire for. There are four categories. Dukhi, simply by understanding, I am a pauper, I don't have anything. After Krishna is friend to all those who are believing in him, having Shraddha, some kind of Shraddha. But this Shraddha is Chayabhas. Means not Pratibhimbhabhas, but Chayabhas. So they may associate and they come to program regularly in the temple and associate with the devotees, then they learn something which is called pure devotional service. So unless and until pure devotional service is achieved, but who is qualified to become pure devotee that we are discussing here? People may come from all different angles, but our acharyas are saying that there are ulterior motivations which lead to piety and fulfillment their desires. But antavantu phalam tesham tad bhavatyam alpamedasam. Their results are temporary because their intelligence is not far-reaching, is stunted. They can't think what they are supposed to do. They have to cultivate a resolute faith coming out from Chayabhas, but they are helped by the devotees who they associate. So They may say, see, his faith is so much that he is facing so many difficulties, yet he will not be. He becomes an example for such a person to cultivate confirmed faith or nishtha, and then he will be benefited. The spiritual piety which awakens pure devotion is bhaktyonmukhi sukruti. Prabhupada used this word, bhaktyonmukhi. Sukruti, that is pious activities that may lead you to do bhakti. Unmukh means you face it in front of you. Not backward, not sideways, right in front. Unmukh, it brings you to pure devotional service face to face, like that. It is distinct from material piety, which bestow either material opulence or the ability to merge into the impersonal Brahman. That is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22nd chapter, 45th verse. The purport Srila Prabhupada is telling. And the Bhaktyonmukhi Sukruti has been told in Bhakti Tattva Vivek, chapter 4, page number 34. Bhakti Tattva Vivek, who wrote?
Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Guru Maharaj.
Not Thakur. So, such treatises are also important for us to study, but we may revisit, but because this is a quite detailed, analysis of our Shraddha, which is either Pratibimb Shraddha Abhas or Chaya Shraddha Abhas. Are we doing in the same way Pratibimb Abhasi Bhakti or Chaya Abhasi Bhakti? So these are detailed analysis, and where are we? So we have to also understand that we have to rise above what we are and analyze our situation. This is quite a detailed program, and I think person should make this chart to estimate an honest and critical analysis of his devotion up till now. Where is he? Where is he standing? So, Bhaktyonmukhi Sukruti is distinct from material piety, which bestows either material opulence or ability to merge into impersonal Brahman. This has also been discussed in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 45th verse. In purport, Srila Prabhupada is describing. So, material piety may be a catalyst for performance of spiritual piety, as explained in the previous chapter, but it is never a cause of devotion. Wow. Material piety may become a catalyst for performance of spiritual piety. Means it might awaken your soul, but will not lead you to follow pure devotional service. Because these are all stage-wise happening. We cannot just simply because we do not know this detail or we can bypass. No, there is no shortcut. You have to go stage-wise. Stage-wise analysis is a detailed analysis. So why to rush? Why to think that, oh, you are qualified? No. We have to remain humble. Pranadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. Keep all your kirtan continuous. And the devotional maturity only comes when the devotees are happy with your progress. Because happiness of the devotee is tantamounts to be happiness of the Guru, and happiness of the Guru tantamounts to be happiness of Lord Shri Krishna. So that's why the stages of progression for even Chayabhas, through the help of the devotees, to please them, to please Guru, to please Krishna. This is the sequential situation, right? So material piety may be a catalyst for the performance of spiritual piety, as it is explained in the previous chapter, but it is never a cause of devotion. Therefore, when Bhagavad Gita mentions 4 kinds of pious persons who turn to Krishna, we should assume that each of them had gathered enough spiritual piety to do so. Spiritual piety. But Bhaktyonmukhi Sukruti, the piety must have a seed of devotion in it. Otherwise, Sukruti, material Sukruti. But Bhaktyonmukhi Sukruti is a very, very important thing. Unless and until we have done some Bhaktyonmukhi Sukruti in our past life, we are given an opportunity to progress further in this life. But have we reached to pure devotional service? No. So these are the stages for us to go through and analyze and concentrate our faith, you know. Therefore, when the Bhagavad Gita mentions 4 kinds of pious persons who turn to Krishna, we should assume that each of them has gathered enough spiritual piety to do so. And they will come to Krishna, but will they be engaged in pure devotional service? It's doubtful. The Vedic society, in Vedic society, pious is defined as the tendency of the to follow scriptural injunctions and to situate oneself properly in varnashram social order, for which Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary. Savai punsam parodharmo yato bhakti radokshajay. For parodharma, it is essential, but one cannot jump directly into it. What kind of Shraddha he has? Adav Shraddha and Tato Sadhu Sangha. It is the influence of the Sadhu Sangha which gives the not only spiritual piety, but the Bhaktyonmukhi Sukruti helps spiritual piety further to induce bhakti in a progressive way in this life. In the Vedic society, pious is defined as the tendency to follow scriptural injunction and to situate oneself properly in the varnashram's social order, of which Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary. Samsiddhim haritoshanam. For any kind of varna and ashram, they have to act in their prescription and ultimately perform those activities which are prescribed duties for the pleasure of Vishnu. Haritoshana. That is the perfection. But is it pure bhakti? It has to rise about. There may not be love aspect involved in varnashram dharma. So that will be more clarified later. You know, bhakti means loving devotion. It's not only devotion. So such conduct, according to Varna and Ashram, to please Lord Krishna, whether for personal gain or liberation, inevitably brings one into contact with the Lord and teaches one to be submissive to the higher authorities, sannyasis, brahmanas, and demigods. And this is the purpose of the Vedic system. See? You have to, if you have the piety, which is also inherited, but it allows you to make progress. But your piety is leading to higher authorities, which are living entities like demigods, you know, and they tend you to worship them. So Chaya Abhas is there. And we came to know that worshipper of demigods is Chayabhas. And Krishna also claims that. Echapyanya devata yajante sraddhayanvita te api mameva yajante avidhi purvakam. It's an indirect worship. Pure devotional service is direct worship. Actually, all these devatas are order carriers of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. They are not independent. They do on the behalf of the Lord. But also there is the medium of material nature and not spiritual nature. So the demigod worship is very popular, but they do not know. They are also keeping Krishna in the wholesale market of their temple, in their home. Everybody is there. But that is not perfect. That does not lead to pure devotional service. They are worshipping Krishna also, but in Chayavas. So they can be promoted by proper instructions and association of the pure Vaishnavas. So, so this kind of, material worships and the conducts, they lead to bring them in association of sannyasis, brahmanas, and demigods. And this is the purpose of the Vedic system. Materially motivated persons engaged in pious deeds, digging wells, giving in charity, chanting mantras, observing vows, and reading scriptures also knowingly or unknowingly perform devotional acts that become the source of their spiritual piety. Knowingly or unknowingly, they are performing, but they also simultaneously conduct, knowingly or unknowingly, offenses. But one is not aware. Worshipper of demigods are not aware of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Tattva. They are not aware. So materially motivated persons engage in pious deeds, digging wells, giving in charity, chanting mantras, observing vows, and reading scriptures, are knowingly or unknowingly perform devotional acts that become the source of their spiritual piety. Here, devotional acts means acts such as giving in charity to Vaishnavas, observing the vows of Ekadashi, participating in fire sacrifice dedicated to Vishnu, chanting the Lord's name, or listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 47th chapter, 24th verse, with Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary is there. They are indeed pious, but they are, yes, in abhas, the chaya abhas. These spiritually pious acts are especially performed when pious people are not discriminating in their practices. For example, they give charity indiscriminately to anyone who begs from them, including the Vaishnavas. These devotional acts constitute real piety, the effect of which eventually accumulates and matures into pure faith and pure devotion. They give charity to anybody, right? They do not discriminate who is not. But if they give to Vaishnavas, then they are directly connected to Vishnu. Otherwise, if in the name of demigods they give to anybody, okay, but it would not lead to Krishna. It will end up to the demigod only. Conditioned souls may conclude that the pious deeds themselves give rise to devotion. But scriptures and liberated souls disagree. They say, oh, we are also the same. Oh, you worship Krishna, we worship Ganesh. What's the difference? But they do not know the tattva. They are doing inadvertently the pious activities which are giving the benefits, but antavanto phalam tesham tad bhavatyam alpamedasam. There is lacunae in their understanding because they don't have intelligence to discriminate. Material piety and a mode of goodness atmosphere may bring people into contact with spiritual life. But because such things are material, they cannot cause full spiritual devotion. Only acts of devotion can cause devotion to rise in the heart of bhaktya, sanjataya bhaktya. Bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya means it's given in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 3rd chapter, 31st verse. The bhakti begets bhakti. Sanjatya bhaktya. Bhakti can be generated only by bhakti. For example, a gracious host, famous for his piety, may in a time become a Vaishnava. Seeing such transformations, materialistic neighbors may conclude that material piety transformed into fellow into a bhakta. But Vaishnavas will not agree. A pseudo Vaishnava. He is not a Vaishnava, but pseudo Vaishnava. Only acts of bhakti furthers up bhakti. And bhakti never diminishes, but the piety and that leads to pleasure of the demigods, such understanding is imperfect. So Vaishnavas will not agree. They will point out that the man's piety enabled him to invite Vaishnavas amongst his other guests into his home. And the unwitting devotional service is of taking care of these Vaishnavas give the host spiritual piety, bhakti-unmukhi sukriti. That will be there. If Vaishnavas are invited amongst others, so no exclusivity of Vaishnavas, but amongst all other mixed, people, different kinds of Shraddha. You cannot put Vaishnava into that category. So, if by circumstantial or in a society, everybody is included, we do not discriminate between the pious people and Vaishnavas. All right? But if Vaishnavas also attend, then naturally that creates bhakti-unmukhi piety. That leads to bhakti. So the unwitting devotional service of taking care of this Vaishnava gave the host spiritual piety, that is bhakti-unmukhi sukriti. As his spiritual piety accumulated, it is enabled the gentle host to properly hear from the Vaishnavas. When mature, his spiritual piety then inspires him to sow the seed of devotion by embracing the Vaishnava's instructions. Thus, a host, once famous for his hospitality, becomes famous for his devotion. This is the relationship between the two types of piety, material and spiritual. Material pious come to pure devotion by one of the two ways: by unknowingly performing devotional service acts, devotional acts such as chanting the Lord's holy name during the ceremonial observance, or by offering service with a purpose other than to please Krishna, such as for acquiring a good wife. These are examples of the semblance of devotion and bhakti abhas. Hare Krishna. Jaya. So, what do you think of this detailed explanation of bhakti abhas? Hello.
Hare Krishna, Gurmat. It's a good explanation, but to try and keep all these Sanskrit terms in our head is a little complicated.
Why?
Well, we've got what is it, Shraddha, and then we've got the Bhakti Abhas, and something else is there as well. Sukriti Abhas. I can't remember how many Abhasas we've got. We've got lots of different Abhasas.
No, these are sequential. So starting from Shraddhabhas, but then it is Pratibam Shraddhabhas or Chaya Shraddhabhas.
That one I
That
understand.
described before. All right. Then what leads to Sukruti. But Sukruti is also of two types. For Sukruti, Artha, Artharthi, and Jigyasu, they three are simply on the a very, say, material platform. But Jnani also comes, Tesham Jnani Muttamam. Out of the four, Jnani is the best. All right? Because he knows. But unless and until that Jnani, through the knowledge of the difference between different abhas, if he has come in contact with the devotees and he may be leading to, say, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or then Bhaktyonmukhi Sukruti will be done. So he is better benefited. Otherwise, the abhas continues. So, Bhaktyonmukhi Sukruti is only done by bhakti, not by simply, a thing. But such faith has led him to even imitate chanting of Hare Krishna and performing some devotional service by his own inclination. So Bhakti Devi must have been involved there. It's a mercy of Bhakti Devi. His Chetana, that is Chis Shakti of Bhakti Devi, is becoming conducive to perform act of devotion. And the person is getting benefit of the flow. He becomes happy. Means the Ladini potency is also acting as Bhakti Devi. So two potencies are combining, Chit Shakti and Ladini Shakti makes Bhakti Devi. So unless and until the activity that pleases Bhakti Devi will be promoting him. Otherwise, it's simply remaining on pious platform. And he is having the Bhaktya Chhaya Abhas. But this will lead, Bhaktyonmukhi means pure devotional service. Unknowingly one performs pure devotional service. That leads, that is the activity of Bhakti Devi. From the point of purity, the first way, Agyat Sukruti, is free of ulterior motives. Thus, even though devoid of the faith, it is superior than the second way, which involves mixed devotion. For example, scripture tells of sinful hunter gored to death by the boar. When the hunter cried out, Haram! How horrible! That is the meaning of haram. How horrible! He was at once liberated from the sinful reactions because he indirectly uttered the name of the Lord. Ram is intact in haram. But if you say something, Hamari, Hari is there, but Ma is interfering in between, changing the meaning altogether. So, even though the holy name should remain intact, that will give the This is Haridas Thakur claims. Muslim, who speaks the word haram. The Muslim was, he ate some very rotten meat on that. So he had a stomach problem and he had to relieve. So he ran in the jungle with a lota, and he was desperate to relieve himself. But at the same time, one pig who was also hungry, and Haridas Thakur says that, he saws that his foodstuff is available, hot and, very supple. He ran, and the pig has the tusk. He immediately pushed that man who was defecating to relieve himself. But the pig is haram in Islam. So he said, haram. But ram word is intact in the word. So it created bhaktyonmukhi piety. That piety was there. So he will be benefited. But somebody, Varna Vyavadhan is there, that there is an interference of some letter in a word, not Hari, but interference by Ma, the Hamari ho gayi. It changes the whole perspective. It does not create anything. So like that, in Harinam Chintamani, Haridas Thakur explains that Varna Vyavadhan, interference of word or letter, that changes the whole thing. So, but he was at once liberated, from the sinful reactions because he indirectly uttered the name of Lord Ram. That is being saying in Prabhupada is also discussing this in room conversation in London, 15th August 1971. Like that. So these explanations are there. So we stop here, Haribol. Anybody has any question or comments?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions on the chat. Vaman Hari wants to clarify his understanding. He says Chaya Rabas is associated with Vaishnavas and Pratibimba is associated with Mayavadis.
Yes. That's an example. Chaya Shraddhabhas, Chaya Bhaktyabhas, that will lead. It will encourage him to go towards pure devotion.
And one question from Jay Sri Mataji. She says, a lot of us start with Chaya Shraddha. How can we ensure we're not stuck with Chaya faith, but proceed to pure devotional service?
Now you have to become more serious. Steadiness means material steadiness of your practice, but we can't limit our thinking pattern limited. more you meditatively chant, more you will be inspired to understand the efficacy of the holy name. Because in the spiritual or the bhakti, everything is unlimited. You can't limit bhakti. Oh, this is enough for me for this life. That's no. You will continue. Bhakti cannot be contained in a little thing. No. Bhakti is itself is very dynamic internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, composed of Chit Shakti and Ladini Shakti. Bhakti Devi ki Jai.
Maharaj, I have one question. Like there are so many scriptures. There are so many scriptures, and on top of that, like each acharyas, they have written their commentaries and books. But given the timeline, like we on top of that now so many sannyasis also writing books like Gauranga Prabhu, Gauranga Rasan Prabhu, and we purchase books and just we keep it. We don't have enough time to read them. But how? I mean,
say the standard textbooks are there. Bhagavad Gita is the standard textbook. Srimad Bhagavatam is a standard textbook. And Chaitanya Charitamrita. These are the three standard textbooks are there. But all the references are there contained in. But how to organizedly, this is the study. And verification is there through parampara, acharyas.
But many of them are not aware of that.
That's okay. These are not hidden gems. Even if you get the books and you don't have time to read, it is still hidden from you.
That's what is happening. We buy books
Huh?
because everyone comes.
So,
they have the clear
yeah.
experience in the.
Because bhakti is not contained in a limited sphere. It wants to expand, and if you are curtailing, then take next birth and continue. But as long as you live, you have to develop that intensified bhakti by removing all the misconceptions that has been, described here, that they don't help. It is a very good guide when we are analytically, informed. All right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.